Ash vs. Evil Dead Season 2, Episode 3, Last Call. This episode, they went really hardcore with some of the violence, and I loved it. I was like, man, they did some stuff, especially the kid when they had the wheel spin and it like basically burned his face off. I didn't expect that. I really thought it was just going to be he's waiting and it was just going to crush his head. And I was like, that's what I was expecting. And then it spun and it slowly went down and it starts CG where it's like basically taking his nose off. And then it goes realistic and it just rips, the fake prosthetic apart and it just like blows open. I was like, holy crap, they went insanely hardcore in this episode. Like I thought, the last one I was like, oh, that's super gross, and it actually got to me because it was like poop and stuff. But this got to me, and it was still blood, and I was like, man, this is insane. They did, kind of full Stephen King style with the evil car, and I loved that. I thought it was really cool. It was kind of, for those of you who might not watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., they have Ghost Rider this season, and it's the new version of Ghost Rider where he has, like, an old Charger, and there's, like, flames under the car and stuff, and when I was watching this episode, I was like, man, that's, like, some Ghost Rider stuff in this, and all the CG I thought looked really good, the fire shooting out and stuff, and when they have the part, I think it was when the second kid gets run over, or it might have been the first kid where they burned his face, but like basically it like shoots fire out of the back of the car and then the car shoots off. I was like, that was really cool. Just a bunch of random stuff, and it was just crazy. Like that was the crazy side of the episode. Then we had the funny side, which I'll get to, but man, that whole segment with the car was just absolutely insane. Like these kids, they stole the car. It's kind of normal, 3 of the kids get out, the other 2 kids are making out, and then the girl just ran, naturally, as Evil Dead, does do, someone just grabs the book, and they just start reading stuff, and then everything goes to hell. So, it sucks for the dude, because I'm pretty sure the guy, the first guy that died, that got his face, like, ripped off, I'm pretty sure he was the one that stole the car, because I think he was the one wearing the red when he stole it. So, he really got effed up. Like, the girl that he was making out with bit his penis off and stuff. And I was like, well, that sucks for him. He should have been dead way before that, by the way. Because holding your penis after he gets bit off never happened to me. But I'm assuming that's a lot of blood to lose. So, I think he survived for a very long time. He should have passed out a long time before that. But Ash vs. Evil Dead, I think I can let that go. If I can let go a car burning off a dude's face, I can let go a deadite, eating a dude's penis off, which was just nuts. No pun intended, but I was like, wow, that was, that sucks for him. And then it kept going, and they're getting chased down by the car, and the first guy gets killed by the car, and then the dude who stole the car, he gets really messed up because he freaks out like, oh, the car, turned off, and so he tries to run. And so then he gets destroyed, and then the girl, she's trapped in the car, who we find out is actually the sheriff's daughter. So the sheriff and the waitress, they actually have a daughter. So we find out that she's the daughter of the 2 of them, and so she's freaked out like, oh, with my dad being sheriff, me still in this car, being in a stolen car, probably isn't a good look. But at this point, I guess it doesn't really matter. So whole episode, she's freaking out. She ends up surviving because the car basically just straps her in and kind of just locks her down, and so she has to watch everybody else get killed, and it was just crazy. Like everyone just gets taken out by this car. The Deadite ends up going to the big party, which Ash is like, all right, we'll throw this insane party. We'll do the drinks, whatever the drinks are with the ketamine. So he's like, he has the drinks. His buddy, who is, of course, Ted Raimi, who's Sam Raimi's brother, who you guys might have seen in all the Spider-Man movies. Both of them were in that as well. Bruce Campbell and Ted Raimi. So I was like, all right, that's pretty cool that he's in that. Whenever Sam Raimi does something, his brother is always the one that acts in it. Maybe Sam just doesn't like acting, but Ted is always in stuff. There's this really old show that the CW used to have called Legend of the Seeker, and Sam Raimi did that as well. And Ted Raimi showed up in that too, and he had like it was like medieval times and stuff, so he had like the super long hair and stuff. And he's always in there somewhere. He's always in some episode or doing something. If Sam is a part of it, his brother is always acting in it because he's like the acting one and Sam's the directing one. So it was awesome to see Ted Raimi again because I like seeing him and stuff, because he always plays silly characters too. He never plays like a serious person. He's always either he's silly or like in the Spider-Man movies, he's like the super nervous dude, and everything that happens to him is really funny. So it was awesome seeing him in this, and him and Bruce Campbell. Honestly, it was like they were just friends, just hanging out and being really stupid. So I just love that in general because their history of actually working with each other and stuff. So and just actually being friends in real life. So I was like, this is just kind of awesome because it really didn't seem like they were acting. It legitimately just seemed like they were just hanging out and just having a good time. So I actually really loved just seeing that in general. And we have this whole thing with the party going on, and there are a couple of serious moments thrown in there. Like they have the part with Pablo and Kelly where Pablo's freaking out, and then he talks to Kelly, and it starts off nice, and he's like, yeah, you don't need anything, and you don't need a job or a car or anywhere to live. And she's like, I have a home, and he's like, like a stable home. It's like, oh, thanks. It's like, man, you're inspirational and stuff. And it kind of tore her down a little bit, even though that's not what he was trying to do. And that ends up leading to Kelly and Ruby teaming up, where Ruby's like, I thought that I was coming here for Ash, but based on how, everything's played out, these last couple of big moments, maybe I was here for you instead. So now they're going to be teaming up to get things done, and I don't know how that's going to play out. I assume it won't work 100%, and they will realize that as badass as both of them are, they do still need the whole team. Like, no one, even Ash himself, couldn't just do it on his own. He did in the movies, but now it's a whole different ballgame. Like, they all need each other, and that's just how it's going to play out. But I am excited to see them do their little team up for this next episode, and it's hard to tell, based on the end of this episode, what to really expect for the next one. Which, the end of the episode kind of blew my mind, because that was another one of the serious things in the episode, was Ash dealing with his dad. And they made it funny, but it's like, he talks about his sister and stuff like that, which I mentioned before. I could not remember at all if that was his sister, but they flat out say it. So, he talks about, like, you think I really killed my sister and stuff like that, and just how their family just kind of fell apart after that happened, and how he was, how Ash was so upset that his dad just never believed him, because he truly thought that he would, go nuts and kill his own sister, which, as I mentioned, whole town knows about this, and it's like, yeah, he just kind of went along with his life. They never, still nothing about, like, him even possibly having gone to jail. It was just like, yeah, that happened. But everybody freaked out. It's almost like it was in the 1800s, and it was just like, that's a scary story. No laws though, so no big deal. Like I still find that really weird when they talk about it. Like, they think he killed like 4 people in the cabin. What else exactly? Like, there's no processing, nothing going on there. But they had a real serious moment talking about it, and we go through the whole thing, and Ash, they do the bull riding stuff, and Ash gets outclassed by his father, and they go through the whole thing, and then we end up having the crazy scene in the bathroom where Ash kills the Deadeye, which I thought was a great scene too, especially the way it started, because I didn't think he was gonna chainsaw her through the wall. I thought he was gonna like kick the door in and they'd start fighting, but he just chainsawed her straight through. And they're throwing each other across the room. They destroyed like all the stalls, and everything just went nuts. And I love the way he did it, because the way he killed her was he dumped her in the toilet, and then he cut her head off while she was in the toilet. I was like, man, that was a really cool kill. That was probably one of my favorites that I've seen in the show. And his dad finally believes him, like, see, this is, the craziness that I've been dealing with all this time. And then, of course, the dude comes in, he's like, holy crap, Ash, she's flashy, and everybody takes off. And, of course, Ash comes out like, hey, don't freak out. And he's holding the head in his hands, which I was like, I know he's going to take it out there, which is so stupid, but it was really funny when he did. He's like, oh, whoops, and he tries to put the head behind his back. And I was like, this is just really funny, but he and his dad finally start to bond, where his dad realizes, you're actually a hero. You didn't go nuts, you didn't kill your sister just because, like, there really were monsters. Like, something happened to her, and you had to do what you had to do. And then they do the crazy super tease where it's like, I gotta tell you something, and it could basically alter your way of life. And honestly, I don't know what it could really be, because they talk. At first I was thinking like maybe something with his mom, but it's like, he mentioned his mom left. It wasn't like she died or anything like that. It was like, no, she left. Maybe he thinks she's dead. I don't think they specified whether or not she left and then they thought she died, and maybe his dad found out that she was actually alive and he knew where she was or something crazy like that. But he's like, this is something that could possibly change the fabric of your life. He's about to say something like crazy epic, and then the car just comes by and not only hits him but actually kills him, and like his head is open and stuff. And they do like this super crazy, it's like insanely dramatic because like his dad just died, but they do like the cheesy ending because the music starts playing and he does like the no where he screams to the heavens and stuff, and it just ends on like a folk tune. And I'm like, how are they gonna do, like, it was just the craziest ending. But I loved it because that's the show, like it's just that crazy where they do something as insane as kill off Ash's dad, which I didn't think was gonna happen, by the way. I figured they brought in Ash's father because he's going to become a main character in the show, at least for the season, and then he'll make his appearances where they talk to him over the phone, or, he goes back home. And he's dead now, and that blew my mind. I was like, alright, well, not where I thought this season was going, where they killed his father, and he'll probably come back. That's probably something they'll do, where it'll be Deadites either taking over his body, or just giving Ash hallucinations, or just, some monster that could actually change forms, something like that. So I feel like his father still has to play a role in the season where, like I said, it'll be either flashbacks or hallucinations or Deadites acting as his father. But that blew my mind. I was like, they just killed his dad off, and I thought he was going to be a big part of the season. It's Ash's father, first time we've ever seen him, and he's already gone. So I don't really know what to expect 100%, but an insane ending. I'm excited for the next episode for sure, and I'm glad I thought about this before I ended the review. But the opening as well, crazy ending, phenomenal opening. Probably my favorite opening in the whole series because it was the funniest thing ever, where it starts off and they're using old footage of the movies and stuff, and I love the way they did it. It starts off with them in the tunnel, and then they do like kind of the fade in where they kind of fade out the rest, and it's like just happy memories, and they show like Bruce Campbell from the first movie, and he's just smiling and stuff, and it's like, I wish I could think of the song now. I just can't think of the tone, the pacing of the song, but it's like, you've been with me through so much, and they show the Army of Darkness scene where they both just fall out of the sky, like the car just hits the ground, and Ash just like hits on his knees. They do like that movie fall where people just have to jump from a really high height and they just hit the ground and fall over. And it was like, we've been together so long, and it's just like the worst thing he went through well, not the worst thing he went through, but one of the craziest things, getting thrown back in time, and he just hits the ground, and it's like, it was just so funny. It was like the perfect opening. And he's just, he's waxing the car, and they're showing the movies and stuff and other scenes from the last season. And then it ends with him, kissing the picture. And I was like, that was just a phenomenal opening. I watched the opening twice because it made me laugh so much. But loved the opening. Loved just the pure insanity of the car going. I think it's Christine is the name of the car, the Stephen King thing. It's something like that. But I was like, the car went nuts, and it destroyed those kids. I don't know what to expect next. I mean, it kind of just flew through town. You'd think it would actually go after Ash, but he killed his dad, and it kept on going. So I'm not really sure what to expect at this point, because the car just kept flying down the road, and now they still have to go after it. They still have to get the Necronomicon, of course. They have to save the sheriff's daughter. So there are a lot of elements going into this next episode. We have the Kelly Ruby team up, where they're kind of leaving the other half of the team behind to team up themselves and get crap done, and we'll just have to see how it all plays out. But I love this episode. Hilarious opening, crazy gore with the car, just the car, really. I mean, they had their Deadite violence and stuff, but like 90% of it was like, nope, it's the car going crazy. And I kind of like that idea. It was like, the car just went nuts, and it was taking everybody out, and it was really cool. I like the way they did it. They do the red lights and stuff, and like I said, the fire looked really cool, and it was just interesting. Like how the first guy died, where the car turns and it pops the hubcap off, and it blows through the guy's chest, and I love the CG they did there. Like, you may not have noticed it because it was super fast, but they show like he has the big hole in his stomach, but there's like, if you look at like the bottom left of the screen, his intestines are actually spilling out. It's like really slow, and they don't really focus on it. It's just like this giant hole. But his intestines are actually like spilling out very slowly during that little quick scene. And then of course it cuts away because he falls and he's dead. But I was like, that's cool. They put that little detail in there where his intestines are spilling out if you look at everything else. So like, alright, that's a cool little added element. But definitely a phenomenal episode. I can't wait to see this next one and how crazy things are gonna get. But of course, want to know what you guys thought about this episode, so please comment below. Let me know your favorite parts, your least favorite parts. And I gotta ask what you guys thought about Ash's father being killed in this episode, because huge shock to me. Don't know if you guys were really expecting that. Some people I'm sure were expecting him to die, but I never would have expected it so early. I wasn't even thinking he would die, if I'm being totally honest. I thought he would just survive and be like the extra silly character who's just always safe and he's at home. And that was pretty much it. But them killing him off I thought was really nuts. And I also want to know what you guys think is going to happen next. Like, what was he going to tell Ash? Was it actually important? Was it something stupid? Because I can see this show going either way, where it's something actually dramatic, or it's like, oh, he just wanted to tell me, like, this is where the porn collection was. Something really stupid like that, I could easily see in Ash vs. Evil Dead, and it would work perfectly too. But it was just crazy for me. But I want to know what you guys thought about the death, and of course, what you guys thought about the episode in general. So please comment below, let me know, and thanks for watching.